Hi, Chef Emma here from What's the Plate Korean to show you all how to make my Chinese scallion pancakes at home. So these are very different from Korean style pajeon, which is the Korean scallion pancake. The Korean one is more of a batter. The Chinese style is going to be a dough. So we're gonna start off with 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I add in a 1/4 cup of sweet rice flour, a tablespoon of salt, and then we're gonna start off with 1/2 cup of hot boiling water. So you're gonna wanna use a spoon to start off with because that water is hot. So what this does, it inhibits the development of the gluten in the flour. So that's gonna make it more of a, not quite as stretchy and a little bit softer of a dough. So basically that boiling water is just killing all that gluten. But then the rice flour I like to add in because then it adds a little bit of that chewy QQ texture to it. So once you got that kind of as a shaggy dough there, you're going to add in a 1/4 cup of just cold room temperature water and then mix that in. And then we're going to, once it comes together, you can just start doing this by hand. Also, if you want, you can use a mixer with that as well. Just going to want to start kneading this all together until you get a really nice, smooth dough. Okay, then we're just gonna let that rest and we'll set that aside. Put a towel over and let that rest while we chop up our ingredients. So here we have about 1/2 cup of toasted sesame oil. I'm going to chop up a shallot to be added into there. So the way I chop up a shallot is I leave the root end, keep your palm flat, do little horizontal slices, and then that there. We're gonna put that in a bowl right here. Okay, then we'll chop up these scallions. So depending on how much green onions you like is how much you're gonna chop up. So I like a lot of green onions in my scallion pancakes. Okay, so we have those chopped up. Next, we'll make a little dipping sauce here. So I have equal parts soy sauce and Chinese black vinegar. You can't get the black vinegar, you can use rice vinegar as well. And then if you like it spicy, I add in some chili crisp. And then that's gonna give it a nice spicy flavor to it. You can either make your own chili crisp oil at home, or there's a lot available now in the supermarkets. So we'll put that aside. Next, we will start forming our pancakes. So with this, when you roll this out, you are not using flour, you will be using cornstarch. So out your dough. It's nice and soft and pliable. So we're gonna make 4 of these. So you can be very accurate and weigh it out on a scale or just kind of go for it. So the technique that we're doing here is we want little layers, almost like the same as lamination when you're making croissants or a puff pastry. So you're gonna add some fat in between and then layer it in with the scallions and the shallots. So first, we just wanna roll it out. And then take your sesame oil, and you can be very generous with this because it's gonna add a lot of delicious nutty flavor to it. So normally in like puff pastry, this would be your butter. So you have your fat. But here we're using sesame oil. Sprinkle in your shallots and then some of your scallions. And then you're gonna roll it up. Just like that. And then I do it, you can only do it once, but I like to do this a couple of times. So I roll it out first, then let it all sit there, and then we're gonna go let that rest while we roll out the next ones. Same idea. We're gonna do that one time and then roll out the rest, and then we're gonna do the same process again. So 2 times, and that's just gonna add lots of nice little flaky layers of these scallions and the sesame oil. Okay, so now we're gonna do our final roll and forming of the scallion pancakes. So, gonna gently roll this out, trying to not let too much of the delicious scallions and sesame oils leak out. So, now take your sesame oil and your final bit of scallions there. Then you're gonna roll it into like a jelly roll. And then you can kind of squeeze it shut. It's okay if some of the things fall out, little pieces of scallions, not a problem. Then you're going to roll it inside of each other. And then I just take the end, just kind of pop it in there. A little bit more cornstarch, and then flatten. So then you're gonna get a nice circle, and it's gonna have a little bit of a spiral. And then you're just gonna wanna roll this out a little bit. And then I like mine a little bit thicker. If you want them real thin, you can roll them out real thin, but like about that thickness, so you get a nice bit of that chewy inside and the crispy outside once we fry these up. So that's the first one. And then same thing, rolling this out. And all of these processes of rolling it out, layering the oil and the scallions inside, just creating there's gonna be this super delicious layers and textures once we cook these up. And you're gonna do your little jelly roll. Sure, they're nice. And then your spiral. This is very forgiving, so don't worry about all of your stuff falling out. It's gonna come together just perfect. So now we are heating up some canola oil, so any oil with a high smoke temp. And we're going to cook these. So once that oil gets up to heat, around medium heat will work. And we're just gonna pan fry these up one at a time. Okay, so we're frying these up in the oil over medium heat here. It's gonna cook up all the scallions and shallots in there. So we used to serve these at Whistle Pig, the restaurant, but because they're Chinese and not the Korean style, it led to a little bit too much confusion for people. So we just took them off the menu and just sticking with the normal Korean jeon. But these are one of my favorites. My best friend, who is my roommate in college, she's Chinese, Taiwanese. When she would go home, she'd come back with a bunch of these frozen, and we keep them in our freezer and refry them up for late night study snacks. So they have a very fond memory of eating these with some kimchi in the middle of the night while studying. So I would cook them for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, just making sure that they don't burn, and you want the insides to get nice and crispy. So you can see it's nice and crispy on the outside. It's going to be kind of chewy and flaky on the inside. And the cornstarch, when we roll it out in the cornstarch, it helps to create that nice crispy layer on the outside as well. Kind of similar to Korean fried chicken, where don't use flour in the batter. It's all a mixture of different starches, and that just leads to an extra crispy skin on there. So very similar, potato starch, cornstarch, they're all going to lead to a very crispy exterior. Sometimes flour can start getting a little gummy textured. This recipe is also completely vegan as well, so definitely not gluten-free, but it is vegan. You can also start to get creative where you could add up minced up shrimps or scallops into it, make it more of a seafood one. So they're called bings, which are Chinese pancakes. There's a wide variety of different types of bings that you can make. This is definitely probably the most popular, well-known one. They have other ones, they call them almost like Taiwanese hamburgers, where it's gonna be different types of breads with fillings in them. And that one's gonna have meat, but you can do other ones. You can make this into a dessert one, where instead of scallions and sesame oil, you're gonna use sweet red bean paste and smear that on instead of the sesame oil and roll it up the same way. And then you're gonna get a really tasty little sweet red bean pancake. So definitely a lot of things that you can play with, which is what's I think is so fun about this, is you can definitely, once you get the basic dough down, mess around with fillings, add whatever you like. The springtime when it's ramp season, definitely throw in some chopped up ramps in there. Leeks, you could do that. So it's just one of those things that you can definitely have fun with and experiment. Just kind of the fun part about cooking is learning the basics and then going off and experimenting on your own with your own flavors, and find a better technique that works better for you, and just the fun of cooking. Okay, so now we are going to cut up our pancake and serve it. Our little dipping sauce there. Some sesame seeds on top.